In this video, we will learn the way to factorize a quadratic equation quickly. There are two types of quadratic equation. Type 1, when the coefficient of x square is 1, and type 2, when the coefficient of x square is other than 1. The general form of a quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c. If it has two roots m and n, then you can write this equation as x plus m times x plus n. You can also rewrite as x square plus sum of the roots m plus n times x plus product of the roots m times n. There are two possibilities. When the products of the root, that means m times n is positive or m times n is negative. If m times n is positive, then the roots will be the same sign. That means either both roots m and n are positive or both roots m and n are negative. If m times n is negative, then the roots will be opposite sign. That means either m is positive and n is negative, or m is negative and n is positive. Let's discuss few examples. First, start with type 1, that is the coefficient of x square is 1. If you compare this equation with the general form, then you will see m times n is positive 30 and m plus n is positive 11. We can write 30 as 1 times 30, 2 times 15, or 3 times 10, or 5 times 6. We cannot write 4 times a number because 30 is not divisible by 4. Now, since m times n is positive 30, so both roots are either positive or both roots are negative. Again, since m plus n is positive, so both m and n should be positive. Finally, which two numbers satisfy m plus n is 11? It's definitely 5 and 6, so the roots will be 5 and 6. And you can write this one as x plus 5 times x plus 6. If the question asks to solve this equation, then we can write this equation as x plus 5 times x plus 6 equals to 0. Now, by zero factor property, we can write either x plus 5 equals to 0 or x plus 6 equals to 0. After solving, we will get x equals to negative 5 or negative 6. One more example. Here m times n is negative 30 and m plus n is negative 7. Since m times n is negative 30, so the roots will be in opposite sign. Again, since m plus n is negative 7, so the biggest root will be negative. Finally, which two numbers satisfies m plus n equals to negative 30 and m plus n is negative 7? It's definitely 3 and negative 10, because 3 minus 10 is negative 7. So m and n will be 3 and negative 10. And you can write this expression as x plus 3 times x minus 10. Remember, when m times n is negative, you also need to think the combination of positive and negative of this number. If the question asks you to solve this equation, so the solution will be x equals to negative 3 and x equals to positive 10. Now discuss about type 2, that is the coefficient of x square is not 1. We will solve this type of expression by grouping. In this example, m times n is 30 and m plus n is 11. Now which two numbers satisfies both of these conditions? It's definitely 5 and 6 because 5 plus 6 is 11 and 5 times 6 is 30. So we can rewrite this expression as 2x square plus 5x plus 6x plus 15. Now from these two terms the greatest common factor is x, and from these two terms the greatest common factor is 3. So you can write this one as 2x plus 5 times x plus 3. Now if the question asks you to solve this equation, the solution will be x equals to negative 5 over 2 negative 3. One more example for type 2. So here m times n is 2 times negative 15, which is negative 30, and m plus n is positive 13. Since m times n is negative 30, so the roots will be in opposite sign, and since m plus n is positive 13, so the biggest root will be positive. Finally, which two numbers satisfies both of this condition? It's definitely 15 and negative 2. So you can rewrite this as 2x square plus 15x minus twice x minus 15. So the greatest common factor of first two terms is x, and the greatest common factor of last two terms is negative 1. So you can write this one as twice x plus 15 times x minus 1. If the question asks you to solve this equation, so its solution will be x equals to negative 15 over 2 positive 1. Thanks for watching.